Gentlemen, perhaps the most important decision you will ever take in your life is that the woman you choose to have by your side. I know it sounds far-fetched. You might be thinking, isn't my choice of career, or the mortgage I take out, or the religion I practice more effectual on my life than my partner? Well, you have to extrapolate, and this is on all dimensions. Your woman is your piece. She represents the kind of person you are, and she will likely be the mother of your children, the womb of your generation. The woman you walk holding hands with tells everyone watching of the caliber you are as a man. Is she a 304, old raggedy woman that bosses you around? If she's some blue-haired feminist out of BuzzFeed with tattoos and piercings, and if she's some overweight whale with no sense of self-control that shows the world that you are a man without wit. Now imagine you are a successful modern man walking with a beautiful and young woman that treats everyone with respect, listens to you and is loyal to you, supports you in all your endeavors, and takes care of the way she looks. That is a reflection of your quality as a man. This is why, gents, I often ask men who are in their prime to not date or marry women over 30. And here's a few reasons why. You might have seen the recent interview between Andrew Tate and Piers Morgan. One of the greatest points of contention is that conversation was the fact that Piers kept pushing Tate to admit that preferring younger women over older ones is misogynistic. It has been a hotly contested topic ever since, and I'd like to substantiate the dangers that come with dating older women, especially past their 30s. In the world we live in today, a woman's greatest asset in life is her looks, her sexual appeal, and her attractiveness. It is her choice. She can convert this asset to quick, fast cash by starting an OnlyFans. She can use it to climb the corporate ladder and become successful that way. Or she can use her appeal to attract and get the commitment of a high-value male by not taking advantage of her natural gift and riding the CC her entire youth. Sadly, there are very few women who pick the latter option. When you see a woman in her 30s or 40s still dating, still part of the mating market, and still wanting to be part of the hookup culture, there is nothing wrong with drawing a few inferences. You know very well that if she had wanted to find a good man and settle down with him, she could have. But it is mostly likely that the popular social message of promiscuity, hookups, and sexual freedom got to her, and she jumped from Chad to Chad for most of her 20s. But then the wall hits, a ton of bricks, and she realizes the golden opportunity she wasted to use her naturally given gift of beauty into the loving affection and commitment of a strong, high-value man. No man who is in his 30s and 40s and starting to hit his stride after a decade of hard work really wants to settle for a has-been and ran-through woman in her 30s with all the emotional baggage from past relationships to handle. I believe most men would opt for a pretty and submissive woman who wants to defer to her man's experience and wisdom instead of being a nagging annoyance. So when I see a high-value man with everything from looks, money, and status hanging around with a woman who's past her prime, I feel like stopping him and shaking him off his blue-pilled conditioning, telling him that he's wasting himself away for a woman that sees him as not much more than a safe retirement plan after years of the exciting CC. There's another big reason why you should steer clear of women in their 30s. Perhaps that will concern most men even more than her past. Gentlemen, when you date or marry an older woman, she will expect more of you. She will constantly use your past relationships as a metric to judge you, and you will live in a state of constant competition. This is the cost. But is it justified by the caliber of woman she is? Remember, the more men that have plowed through her, the less her SMV value is. A woman that has been used and dumped by dozens of men in the past, and none of whom have been willing to commit to her. So why do you think you need to be the knight in shining armor that does? You're paying full price, something that has way too much mileage on it. Now, I don't want to be some pea-brained beta to point out that me comparing women to cars is objectification. It's an analogy, and an apt one. The real objectification happens in the wider society where women and female force of attraction is used to sell and market everything from dollars, even their own bodies. Now comes perhaps the most pertinent reason why you as a high-value man needs to stay away from older women past their prime, and that is the prospect of having children. both from your perspective and hers. You see, a woman that has hit the wall wants children and wants them fast. Her biological clock is ticking, and her maternal instincts are telling her to get to the finish line of reproduction quickly. This is the baggage, the urgency that an older woman brings, that most successful men in their prime don't want. Maybe you don't want children. Maybe you want children at a later stage in your life. You can't. If you're with a woman in her 30s, every passing year is heavy. Her fertility and ability to produce healthy, intelligent children without complications is dwindling. Sure, there are options like IVF, surrogacy, and freezing eggs, but who goes through all these expensive medical procedures in the first place when you could have a younger woman in her prime to begin with? Someone that can wait to have children and will most likely give you healthy children when you do want them. Remember, gents, having a child is one thing. Raising him up to replace you when you die is something entirely different. It is a decision you need to take with careful deliberation and not in haste or emotion. Your genetic lineup is the legacy you leave behind, and by far the most important contribution to it comes from the mother you choose to give to your children. You will be remembered by the children you leave behind, so make the right choice. I sometimes feel that in this day and age, where hookups are easier while marriage is difficult, we are descending into a world where children will be deprived of stable and emotionally available two-parent households, compounding the societal problems we have today every generation. In this maze of a complicated world, a bad choice of a woman, an ill-thought-out marriage, and an unintended pregnancy can destroy a man who otherwise was on his path to success. It can make brokies of millionaires because a bad woman, with the help of the modern court system, can leech off almost your entire net worth, leaving you a hollow shell of the person you were meant to be. If you still haven't had this happen, hear this message as a warning. Be careful who you choose to have by your side and who you sleep with. It will have consequences far beyond you could imagine. I have seen men around me who toiled and broke their backs working 3 or 4 decades, building wealth and living in the delusion that their woman would always be by their side. But then they found out she was a wolf waiting to pounce. And the moment the man finally made it big in life, the woman walked away with half of hard-earned financial wealth. This is the tragedy you need to be aware of, and to never let it happen to you. You get one life and your choices reverberate across decades of your later life. So be smart and use resources like this channel to curate your life the way you want it. Like the video and subscribe to the channel because there's a lot more dangers lurking in your life you need to be warned about. Share the video with your friends and spread the message. Until next time.